Mark Ogden then given the task to pick the team of the calendar year in the Premier League. This is what he has come up with. De Gea alongside Everald, Stones, Walker, Fernandinho, Pogba, Hazard, De Bruyne, Kane and Sané. Steve Nicol.
Where's Salah? Where's Sterling?
Well, I suppose Salah only's played half a season.
Well, Stones has only played half a season.
We played, what, 12 games?
Alderweireld's played half a season. How many games has he missed as well? There's a lot of those players. I mean, surely you can't put Sané ahead of Raheem Sterling for Manchester City.
Sure.
He was decent at the end of last season, and he's been great this season. Sterling was decent last season and has been absolutely incredible this season. So just straight away, you've got the wrong Man City player in there. And Pogba as well. I love Pogba. I think he's got a lot more to show us that he hasn't already shown us. But I wouldn't have him in there.
No.
I'd have David Silva before Pogba right now.
Kante seems to be a big omission.
Yeah, that I don't understand how he's missing, especially.
Wasn't he Player of the Year?
He was. Of course, that took into consideration half of 2016 as well. But yeah, he's a huge miss. I'm with Stevie. Pogba, the inclusion of Pogba, the biggest head scratcher for me. And as you mentioned, Dan, Stones. I think that there's any number of centre backs who were in there. Let's keep in mind, City didn't have. Well, City finished what, 4th last season. Yeah. They've had a great 2017, but even so, he's only featured in what, roughly half their league games.
Azpilicueta, wouldn't you?
Well, just to hear you say Azpilicueta, I would.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Over John Stones. Julian is with us. Julian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, boys. I think Conte deserves to be there. So does Azpilicueta, whether you want to play him as a right back or as a centre-half, although he played there in the back three, which is a bit different than the back four that Mark had. In his team, and David Silva, for me, every day of the week, ahead of Pogba or ahead of Sané as well, if Sterling doesn't make it. But those three, Silva, Conte and Azpilicueta, deserve to be there for sure.
What a disappointing way to end 2017, Mark Ogden.
That's a bit harsh.
You've got to love a public vote. 70%, 70% voted that 2017 belonged to Mo Salah. Even with your Liverpool glasses on, Stevie, would Salah have been your vote?
Of course he would.
No, he wouldn't.
Of course he would.
No, he wouldn't.
Well, what more do you have to do?
What do you mean? Win a Champions League like Ronaldo did? Win La Liga like Ronaldo did?
Well, it depends what other 10 players you're playing with, isn't it? This is an individual award. It's not a team award.
What are you talking about?
It's not a team award. Is it a team award?
No, it's a player.
So it's about how somebody plays on the field regardless of the strip they have on, the colour of it, or the name on it, or whatever.
But surely achievements have to count in this.
Well, that means that they can forget, what, 90% of the teams, particularly in the Premier League, or wherever it may be.
Stevie, what are you talking about?
Well, you're talking nonsense.
Ronaldo scored 7,000 goals in the Champions League knockout stages to get Real Madrid to the trophy once again.
Are you talking about the year, or are we talking about this season?
We're talking about the year.
Oh, here we go with this nonsense. Well, it's from the start of that season to that season.
Well, we're talking about the season.
Well, I didn't know, did I?
Who did 2017 belong to?
Burley was right the other day. You don't ask a question properly.
Who does 2017 belong to? Where is that difficult to understand?
Why do you think Ronaldo got the World Player of the Year? So why are you even asking such a stupid question?
Because we asked on the website,
he won
70% voted
He
for
won
Salah.
everything. What was the point of having it then? Because he won everything. So it's a no contest. Not even Messi can argue with that.
Right.
Ronaldo won everything, so Ronaldo wins.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, if that's your question.
Who does the year belong to? The calendar year?
Oh, see, that's better, the calendar year.
Oh,
you never said that before.
I wouldn't. Well, I didn't say who is the player of the season so far, did I?
I see, whatever suits you. Hey.
Julian Laurent.
Of course it's Ronaldo.
Julian, who did it belong to?
He won everything.
The calendar year.
I would give it to Harry Kane. I love Mo Salah, I love Stevie Nicol, I love you, Dan, I love Cristiano Ronaldo, but come on, Harry Kane, come on.
He didn't win anything.
Please.
What did he win?
But the guy was amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you, Julien.
For the first time in, what, 8 or 9 years, He scored more than Messi and Ronaldo. No one did that before since Suarez back with Ajax. It's an incredible 2017 for Harry Kane, better than anything else this year in football, I think.
Why are you thanking Julian?
Because he just made clear exactly he didn't understand the question, and he's completely thrown it back at you. And do you know what?
What do you mean he
Why don't you
completely
give us?
understood the
I'll tell you what
question?
you do. You know what? You know before we go, you know before we start shooting, just tell us the answer you want, and then I'll give it to you.
Julian,
Because unless you get the answer you want, you start arguing. Well, you ask Julian, he gives you a name, and you don't like it, so you start arguing with them.
I was just making the point that Harry Kane didn't win
It's
anything.
funny how you keep making a point and we don't give you the answer you want.
Shaka,
Hey, who would you have given it to?
I would have given it to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh,
I vote for Stevie
there you
Nicol.
go. See?
I vote for Stevie Nicol.
See?
For that
There you
answer
go.
alone.
There you go.
Oh, goodness me, that was...
There it is.
Oh, that was...
2017 belonged to Salah,
What, the season or the year?
according
What
to
is it?
70% of the voters. Pep Guardiola was asked about a possible move from Sanchez to City. He said, "We will have internal meetings and see what is for the best, but he's an Arsenal player, and I think he will be." Alexis Sanchez, of course, has stolen the headlines, Julian, over the last few days. Apparently, there was a bust-up in the Arsenal change room after the Burnley game. The player's not celebrating with him when he scores. Is that a suggestion? Maybe Arsenal might be happy to see him leave in January.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. It was last year was the same, the year before. He's not the most popular in the dressing room because he's a very, very selfish player. And not just a selfish player, he's a very selfish man, full stop. And I think that doesn't go down very well with some of the rest of the Arsenal players, which you can understand why. However, he's their best player anyway. So losing him, even if that, losing him in January would be a huge blow, whoever you replace him with. Losing him for free in the summer would be a big blow as well, whoever you replace him with. There's no easy solution to the Alexis problem because, like we said, he's not popular. But if you want to get some money for him, you have to sell him now. Who do you replace him with? And if you keep him, that might bring more issues to your dressing room, and then he goes for free in the summer.
And reports suggest that he'll be going to City for free. Given what we saw happen to Gabriel Jesus, and we know he's going to be out for a couple of months, could that see City fasting forward a little bit and go for Alexis over the next couple of weeks?
It will depend how much Arsenal want. That's the thing, because City are not stupid. They have a lot of money, but they're not stupid. They're not going to sign someone now for 60 million pounds when they can have the same player in 5 months for zero. That's not, okay, if maybe you quote them 25 million or 20 million, they might think, okay, those 20 million might win us the Champions League as well as the Premier League, so let's go for it. If you quote them 60 million, they're going to think, hang on a minute, come on, we can get someone else for 20 or 25 million, and that guy might still be able to help us winning the Champions League. So I think the ball is certainly in Arsenal's court, and then I think City will wait to see what Arsenal says.
Let's talk Paul Pogba, shall we? Because yet again, it was a very average performance from the Frenchman, and as much as you can talk about his positioning or what Jose Mourinho wants him to do, what his role is within the team, we are not seeing the Paul Pogba that we expected, that broke the transfer record, that came from Juve with such high expectations. Considering some of the individual performances we're seeing from other teams, other players on big teams, Paul Pogba once again just seems to be, well, bang average.
Yeah, you're right. I thought he was a passenger in that game, which was disappointing to see. I think he started the season so well as United, and clearly he was the creative force in that team. He was inspiring that team, created so many chances, so many goals as well. They were scoring a lot, and I think the injury then in the Champions League against Basel really stopped him. And since coming back, he's not the same. I think he's still trying to get back to his best, getting full fitness, for example, and things like that. There's an issue over his positioning. There's no doubt. He still doesn't do enough when United don't have the ball. He certainly doesn't defend enough either when they don't have the ball. There's a lot of work to be done there, but the potential is there. The talent is there. I just want Mourinho to do some proper coaching, like Pep would coach him, like other managers would coach a player like Pogba. Whether that means finding a better position for him, better players around him, but also individually coaching him for him to become better. Because since he joined United, he hasn't become a better player, where he should have become a better player.
No one seems to have got better
No.
at Manchester United?
They're here. That's it.
Well, he's great when he came, and he's been great ever since. I am absolutely with you, Leanne. To me, this is down to the way Mourinho's coaching. You know, in the old-fashioned system, when you had two in the middle of the park, one would stay solid so the other one could go forward. Well, if you look at Matic, particularly in this Southampton game, Matic was behind his centre-backs on so many occasions. Now, if Matic is that far back, then the only thing that's going to happen is Pogba's going to be even further back as well. So this, to me, is down to Mourinho's coaching. He has to get his players into positions where he and his team can get the best out of them. And that's not happening.
Julian, if I was to say to you, when Martial joined Manchester United, that Raheem Sterling would turn out to be a better player than him, certainly at the moment, you would have told me to be quiet, that I didn't know what we were talking about. Yet, look at the progression Sterling has made over the last few months compared to Martial, who is bang average.
Yeah, and you know what? Last season, I think, was a terrible year for Martial at United, despite his first year under Van Gaal being pretty amazing. I think he was the club top scorer for a first year abroad as well. So young, coming to United from Monaco. You know, it was, for the price tag as well, it was incredible. And then Mourinho arrives and suddenly he's left out. It's like, no, and that's not what Martial responds to. Martial is one of those players, like others, who needs to be, you know, showed a bit of love, showed a bit of arm around the shoulder, come here and we're going to work together, I'm going to improve you, I'm going to boost your confidence. Mourinho didn't do anything like that. He just left him out. And this season, he's been a super sub for Mourinho. This is not good enough for someone like Martial. Okay, maybe Martial hasn't done enough himself. I give him that. But Mourinho certainly hasn't done enough work with Martial. And for me, the failure so far of Martial in the last 18 months lays as much on Mourinho as on Martial himself.
Is Mourinho still a top-class manager?
Well, I've had my doubts about Mourinho for quite some time, and maybe he's regressed into the old mould of a manager and man motivated and maybe asking somebody to do his coaching, which quite clearly is failing. But my complaint about Jose Mourinho is that he doesn't set his teams out to just suit the way his current crop of players like to play. I think you saw that towards the last 9 months of his Chelsea tenure. I think you've seen that throughout. I mean, you could draw comparisons between Sterling and Martial. You could continue to look everywhere else in this park and joint comparisons to Manchester City. If 2 seasons ago you said you have to build a title-winning team with 3 centre-backs, Bailey, Jones and Smalling, or Otamendi, Mangala and Stones, you would choose the Manchester United trio every single time. But now you look at City play, you look at how it suits those centre-backs. You look at how it suits the likes of Jesus and Aguero. You look at how it suits everybody through the midfield. And it doesn't, Manchester United, I don't think the centre-halves look that comfortable. Quite clearly, Pogba isn't living up to his promise. And well, we continue to question the likes of Lukaku, of Martial. I don't think Rashford has been given enough of a chance either.
We used to talk from Porto through the first time at Chelsea, through Inter. This guy was the greatest man manager that all of those players that he worked with in those 3 sides had ever had, by a mile. From Real Madrid to the second time at Chelsea, and now at Manchester United, he's going around upsetting everybody. And then you've got players talking about him in the press. I mean, this is a complete U-turn from whatever you think of him as a coach, as a man manager, with all the big egos and everything else, the best. You can't say that now.
See, the thing for me, I think that style works for Porto. It worked for Chelsea, who hadn't won a title in 50 years. It worked for Inter, who had not done anything in Europe. It doesn't work for Real Madrid. No. It doesn't work for Manchester United. And that's a big drop-off that we're seeing.
Team of the week, then. Let's take a look. It was Nickel and Mariner who came together to put this Team of the Weekend together. Stevie, how did you get on?
I've got Silla, I've got IU, I've got Drinkwater, I didn't have Højbjerg, I didn't have Tompkins, I didn't have Dunk.
Oh.
I had both Southampton centre-backs.
Right.
Hoyt and Yoshida.
Yoshida should have got a penalty.
And I had Emre Can.
Yoshida handballed it, didn't he?
Sorry?
He hadn't balled it. Lucky not to give away a
Hold on,
penalty.
did he get a penalty against him?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
No.
So there you go. Here we go, back to your if, nans and buts nonsense.
Right.
Anyway, so Højbjerg didn't have Ademi Cannon. Listen, Liverpool were completely dominant, and part of that reason was because Chan in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Just,
You're going to lose him at the end of the season.
I think they're definitely going to lose him, which is a complete and utter disaster for Liverpool. You talk about weakening your squad big time. Oh. I mean, they do have Keita coming in, but to have Keita coming in and also have Chan there as well would have been great. I don't see it happening. I think he's gone.
Julien, would you like to chip in, Team of the Week?
Yeah, I agree with Stevie on a lot of the names. I would have had Pedro just for the beauty of his goal and that first touch when he dropped the shoulder and then finished it with the inside of his
dropping his shoulder. Look at that.
That was a lovely, lovely, lovely move from him.
Shaka, would you like to say anything?
I'd have Fabianski over Edison.
Why?
Because of his save when it was 1-0, and the Swansea go up the other end. Big points for Swansea. I think there was 3 points, and that save was bigger than Edison's and City's 1.
Well, it might turn out that it wasn't. Because if Man City go on the rest of the season undefeated, Edison's penalty save in the last minute of the game...
If Swansea survive by 3 points, if Swansea survive...
Well, time will tell.
Yes, it will, good sir.
How much of Swansea-Watford did you watch?
A lot.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, ESPN FC with you throughout the week. We're with you actually 4:30 tomorrow on ESPN News.
On paper, the fixture of Manchester City at Crystal Palace, you would think Man City would come away. I even had to go back in our predictor, Maris, and give them 4 goals instead of the 2 original. But that's not what happened. It ended in a 0-0 draw. Lots to talk about in this game, Maris. Where do you want to start?
Well, a couple of things. Manchester City didn't come out the blocks flying. They were a little bit sluggish. You know, having seen them really zing the ball around recently. I mean, credit goes to Roy Hodgson and the way that he drilled his team. I mean, every single player, you know, stuck to the plan. They made it difficult for City. Really didn't give them much of a sighting of goal in the first half. But then in the second half, City did up their game a little bit, and it became a little bit more exciting towards the end.
Crystal Palace could have had the result of the season if they had just netted that penalty. But the big questions now for Pep Guardiola, the frustrations, are the injuries. We saw Kevin De Bruyne go off after Jason Punchin really went in on him there and didn't really go unpunished, as many believe. And then Gabriel Jesus leaving just in tears. So how could this affect Man City and what they will do in this January transfer window?
Well, a couple of things in the second half. In my opinion, it was never a penalty. Sterling comes together with Zaha. There's nothing in it. I think it's a phantom penalty. Justice was done, as they say in the game. He missed the penalty. But then, subsequently, if you look at that challenge from Punchin, who, by the way, wasn't looking at the penalty. When the penalty was hit, he was actually facing the wrong way. So as Kevin De Bruyne picked the ball up, he's absolutely nowhere near the ball. The referee has got to see that. It's so blatantly obvious. That's a red card all day long. You know, you talk about Jesus going off. I mean, the kid was absolutely in tears. He got the start today over Aguero. Maybe that was just Pep resting Sterling and Aguero. It upset the balance of the side a little bit. I do feel that. So Aguero comes on, but it looks as though Gabriel Jesus is going to be a little bit more long-term. We saw Kevin De Bruyne actually walking, with the physios. But he was walking after the game, so let's hope that he's okay.
Because in the short term?
I mean, well, exactly. I think this makes Sanchez being nailed on. I think because he can play the 9, he can play just off. I think he's ideal, and he goes in the rotation for the final push for the Champions League. So I think there will be some movement there with Pep and his backroom staff. But it's also, let's just cast our mind back to the Newcastle game. Let's cast our mind back to the Tottenham game when some terrible challenges were going in. I mean, leg breakers on De Bruyne from Dele Alli. Gundogan gets absolutely hammered just below the knee. So whether the referees are not seeing it, whether the referees are not good enough, you know, there's all the things that managers will be moaning about. Decision making on penalties, decision making on horrendous challenges, and it's red card challenges that everybody in the world can see. And I know it's difficult, they've only got one take. But Pep's going to be a little bit concerned about his depth of his squad. He's got Stones coming back, who's on the bench today, which is good for the defence. But I do feel that, I'm not saying that Man City need to be protected. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that all players have to be protected. But some of those challenges going in today are ridiculous.
All right, well, Manchester City still very much in the driver's seat in terms of the Premier League title. But as for now, Crystal Palace have ended their win streak. So Arsenal draw 1-1 with West Brom. We've got Paul Mariner here, and we've got to quickly get his opinions because he's angry, and it's fresh feelings again, Mariner. It's almost same old, but first of all, let's bring up that penalty. You said never a pen.
No, never a pen. When the ball comes in, I just don't know what the player can do about that. I mean, it's not unnatural. His arms are in front of him. It's 90% never a penalty. I mean, I was going crazy watching the game. I just didn't see how the referee gave such an important decision. It's a fantastic point for West Brom.
Yeah.
But for Arsenal, I think it was a poor decision, to be honest.
Well, just overall, because it's the same thing that we were talking about just yesterday with Manchester United when they had a penalty shout, didn't get it. Jose Mourinho wants to blame that penalty, but overall, Man United didn't do enough. Do you think that's the same case
I do.
with Arsenal?
I do.
Same old Arsenal?
Look, Arsenal are going to the bottom of the table club, West Brom. Yeah, all right, West Brom are fighting for their lives, but the Arsenal are going to play at the Hawthorns, right? They came out as though it was, you know, they had a few pints last night and it was an afterthought to play the game. It was slow. They didn't move the ball quickly enough. They didn't drive at this West Brom defence because West Brom.
Sense of urgency.
Yeah, a sense of urgency just wasn't there at all. It picked up a little bit in the second half. I mean, the best moments of the game was the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the extra time that the ref added. You know, controversy. Wenger's going crazy about the decision. I agree with him for once. But the performance, I think Arsenal fans throughout the world are not going to be happy with the way that this Arsenal team's playing. It was dour, it was boring. It's not the Arsenal that we've known, you know, over the years to love playing that fantastic combination football in and around the edge of the box. It wasn't there.
All right, so thanks so much, Paul Mariner. Arsenal and Arsene Wenger seem to end 2017 on a bit of a sour note.
Welcome to Extra Time New Year's Eve. What are you doing tonight, Stevie?
Got my bed.
Oh. Will you watch the ball drop?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
I'll watch a ball drop.
Yeah? Do you know Stevie has an interesting thing that he can't say Happy New Year to people?
Happy New Year, Steve.
Cheers.
Same with Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, you just doesn't come out. What's wrong?
I don't know.
Julianne is with us. Julianne, what are you doing tonight?
I've got a party with friends to go after the show.
Oh, is it that way? You just pointed. Just behind you.
Yes, actually this way.
Okay, boys, do you think Diego Simeone is the perfect replacement for Jose?
No, I don't, actually. Listen, he's shown that he can organise, he can fire his team up. I'm not so sure he's shown that he can get a team to play all-out attacking, stylish football. I think Manchester United, as a club, certainly in not only recent years, but their history has been all about attack. I'm not so sure that that's what he's all about. Certainly, it's not what Mourinho's about. And if anybody's got a problem with Mourinho, it's generally about the style of football. So I think they have to go the complete opposite way and get somebody who likes to play with style.
Julian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Stevie. I'm not sure Simeone fits the philosophy of the club. I'm not sure it would be ideal replacement for Mourinho. Go and get Pochettino. You know, just give him a blank check. Get Pochettino from Spurs and give him like all the money he wants to build
Spurs
a winning team.
I didn't realise Julian didn't like Spurs.
Oh,
I
Spurs
know,
fans will be
Spurs.
happy. They won't be happy when the ball drops, Spurs fans.
No.
Next question, Shaka. It's talking about Christmas holidays. Oh, wait, my phone has just died. I've just got it on. Shouldn't the Prem reduce the number of games over the holiday period?
Well, that's been an argument within English football for a long time for a number of reasons. But the general thinking is this is when people are off. This is when they're going to make. I like it. As a neutral and as a fan, I enjoy the number of games. I have no problem with it. I have no problem playing them either.
Did you ever get tired? Do goalkeepers get tired?
We're the hardest working players on the field.
In terms of what?
In terms of hard work.
Stevie, holidays, change it?
Not at all.
Julian?
I would change the 2 games in 2 days. The like Saturday, Monday, or Sunday, Tuesday. I think that's too much. I would keep Boxing Day, but just space out a little bit more the games.
Who is more likely to make the switch from PSG to Madrid in the coming years, Neymar or Mbappe? Julian?
No one. No one. Leave our players alone. Don't go and buy someone else.
What do you mean? Hold on.
Buy someone else.
Whoa. What do you mean our player? I thought you were supposed to be impartial, Julian. Leave our players. What's that all about?
Apart from PSG.
Yeah. 1 minute, leave all
you
players
know what?
alone.
You know what? No, you know what I think? I think they actually both will end up at Madrid. I do think that Neymar at some point will get to Real Madrid. Maybe not this year, not next season, I think, but maybe after that. And I think that Mbappe will spend 4, 5 years maybe in Paris, and then because it's his dream to play for Real Madrid, it didn't work out last summer because it was just not the right time for him. But he's only 19. In 4 years' time, he'll be 23. 23 is still, well, old enough then to go and play for Real Madrid. So I think that both will end up at some point at Real Madrid.
City, PSG play tomorrow. Who wins, Julian?
City, I still think they're better than anyone else in Europe. Over 2 legs, over one game, I think anything can happen. Over 2 legs, I still think they're too good.
With a tear in his eye. What's everyone's New Year's resolutions?
I'm going to run a half marathon in 2018.
Oh my God! Why would you do that to yourself?
Why? What do you want to do that for? Why?
Just because?
Because why? You must have a reason.
Hey, what's
No.
happened?
I'm going to run a half marathon.
Have you just thought of that now?
No? Been thinking about it.
When?
Building up to this show.
Chaka, you were running for 20 years, maybe more as a professional. Why would you? Don't you think you've done enough running? Even goalies have got to run and train.
As the fittest players on the park, I think it's well within my abilities.
You know, hey, don't come running to me.
What was your resolution last year?
Hey.
To learn Spanish.
That's
Didn't you have Rosetta Stone in the car?
still a work in progress.
Yeah.
That was a 4-year resolution.
Right.
Yeah, it's different.
You know what? I'm going to say something to you that my mother used to say to me.
Oh.
Merry Christmas.
Don't come running to me when you run and fall and break your leg. Okay? Used to say that. I used to think, how's that? Don't come running to me when you fall and break your leg. How am I going to manage that? Hey? What's she said that?
Well.
Don't come running to me when you fall and break your leg.
What a way to end the year. We've got to get Julian's New Year's resolution as well.
Yeah, we're doing it up.
Less bias. Less
I'll
hatred
try
of Spurs.
to watch less football
Watch less
in
football.
2018.
You're going to watch less football.
It's your job.
I'll try.
It's your job, Julian. Go on and Benny.
He's only going to watch
I watch
PSG.
too much still, I watch too
He's
much.
not going to watch anybody else but PSG.
That's it?
Yeah.
That is it. Stevie, do you want to
Going
say
to
one
all the
last time?
players in a minute.
What? Don't come running to me
No,
when
no,
you fall and break your leg.
The other thing.
You have to say that
The
out
other
loud.
thing. What, have you got anything to say to our viewers?
All the
Where's
best.
your, wait, hold on. Where's your resolution?
Sure.
You haven't given us one.
I don't think I need to make any, I think.
Let's run a,
No, I know he's
let's run a half marathon.
hey. His New Year's resolution is to ask a question properly. Remember that one? Hey,
Come and run a half marathon.
that's a good place to start.
Why don't you run a full marathon? If you're going to do it properly.
Hey, my mum
Baby
used to say
steps.
that as well. If you're going to do something, do it properly. No, I
Baby
got that.
steps.
Understood that
Baby
one.
steps.
Why don't you just do a proper marathon?
No!
Do the Boston Marathon.
I have to do a half marathon to see if I can make that first.
Hey, she used to say that as well. Hey, she used to say, don't run before you can walk.
Oh, you go.
She used to say that one as
Run a
well.
half marathon before you run a marathon.
If you run a half
You
one,
can't
you may as
run a
well do a full
marathon
one.
if you haven't done a half one.
No!
Why?
I'm running a half, make sure I can survive, and then I'll think about learning Spanish.
That is it.
Don't forget to click subscribe.